What it do, Snackers, Snack X, and Snack X's? It's your boy Gage. Sin is with me. You know, Mari,
Hmm.
sometimes it's nicer having you here than having jokes here. I just want to say that. Mari's with me. Keith is also with me. Um, you are now watching the Lotus Sands Movie Club, and we are going to have a discussion about Leon the Professional. Before we get into the discussion, I just want to apologize for anybody who's looking for us at 8 o'clock. We had some difficulties, whether technical or otherwise. They were difficulties. They're not now. We're here and happy to be here. Um, we have to have a short discussion about the ridiculousness that is the naming convention of this movie before we get into anything. So here's what I want to do. I know that what was posted was the movie we are watching this month is Leon the Professional. Is that what everyone watched?
Yes.
I think so. Now I'm
Okay.
like, did I?
I know for a fact
Well,
I did.
there is also the Professional,
Oh, okay.
but we watched Leon the
Hmm.
Professional. Here's what's interesting about that. Hey, cool. Why are you smiling?
Because in my head, I'm thinking, like, what if I saw the wrong movie? What if I was like, damn, I saw
That's
this
what I'm
musical
thinking.
called The Professional?
Cool.
This is funny to me.
There is a small possibility that maybe that's the case. Here's the thing. So this movie was released in 1994. Coop, how old were you?
Oh, man.
Quick maths.
8?
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
I would imagine you didn't get to see this movie then.
Oh, no. This wasn't even in my radar. Um,
What up, Heather?
and, you know,
Hey, Heather. This movie wasn't even on your radar. Mari, had you ever heard of this movie?
Before the movie club?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've actually seen it before.
Excellent. Excellent. I'm glad you said that. Sin.
I'm all
Chill.
good. I'm good. I'm good.
So Sin and I had a discussion the other day because when this movie released in 1994 here in the good old US of A, it was released as The Professional, which for us, if you were an anime person, there's only one person who's the professional.
Go 13.
That's Go 13, the professional, which I'm going to be honest about right now and tell you the only reason why I watched this movie when it came out
It's
is
because of
because
that.
I thought, by some small matter of fact, it might be a live action version of the anime Go 13, the professional. It's not. It's not, right? But I fell in love with the movie anyway. Or at least I thought I did. So it turns out that the international version of this movie was called Leon the Professional, not just the Professional. And the distinction between Leon the Professional and the Professional was that the international version was also the uncut version. And there's a lot more story in that version that they would not release to US theaters.
Hmm.
So, The original release of this film in the US as a professional had a runtime of about an hour and
49.
49 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
The uncut or international version of it is like 2 hours and 15 minutes. Dare I ask whether or not what you watched was 2 hours and 15 minutes? No, probably not.
The one I watched was on Netflix, and I think it was only like an hour and 49.
An hour and 49 minutes. Yeah. What about you, Coop? About an hour and 49 minutes?
Hour and 49. And I did know about the other version, but I didn't know if what I was watching was that or not. I didn't know about the time or anything, but I didn't know about the two different versions of the movie.
So, as it turns out, unbeknownst to me, over the years, they have just gone from The Professional, which you basically can't find anymore. They have just changed the name to Leon, The Professional. However, there is an uncut version and there is a regular version, which I didn't know. To me, Leon the Professional was always the uncut international version. That's how the distinction was originally made. And again, this is 94. So
Mm-hmm.
I probably saw it. I did not see this movie in theaters. I probably saw it for the first time maybe like late 95. First time VHS, then on DVD, then again maybe when it made the change to Blu-ray, something along those lines. But now, if you search Leon the Professional streaming services, you will find the hour and 49 version of the movie, unless you specify that you are looking for the uncut version. So here's what's going to happen. We're going to discuss this movie, and I'm going to fill you in on all the uncut goodness you missed. Because it's almost a different movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's almost a different movie. Before we do that, round the horn, I want to get some scores for where we are on this movie pre-discussion. Sin,
Mm-hmm.
it might be cheating a little bit, but I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
I want you to give me the score as if you never heard of Go-Go 13.
Fair. Perfectly fair.
What is your score for this movie right now?
I watched both versions.
Mm-hmm.
So I literally watched the uncut version this morning while I was at work. So I'll give a score for both because, like you just said, they're practically like two different movies. I give the just Leon the Professional about a 7.
Mhm.
Now the uncut version, I give that an 8.
Okay. Cool.
I'm giving it an 8 as well. Well, I guess I didn't see the uncut version, but it's funny because I do remember buying this on Blu-ray, and it was definitely the uncut version. So I'm thinking, like, where is this Blu-ray right now?
So you can watch it.
Right. And look, I'll tell you right now, if you're an Amazon Prime member, you can rent it for free. So
Oh, okay, good.
yeah, that's what I did.
It'll like tell you have to pay for it for like $4 or like $3.99.
But it's like
Then
you'll see it scratched out and it says $0. Like, okay,
Gotcha.
what's up,
what up,
Freeze?
Freeze?
Mari,
Mm.
score this for me.
8.
Okay, an 8. It is very difficult to not knock points off of the original cut of this movie when you have seen the uncut version of this movie. It's hard not to hold it against it.
Yeah, when I go back and watch it eventually in life or whatever, it will only be uncut from now on. Only.
So I would have said that the original version of this for me was an 8. I'd probably be about where you all were. And the uncut probably takes it to like a 9 for me. And
We're doing Leon the Professional, Freeze.
yeah, if you go back and watch the cut version after you've seen the uncut, it might take 2 points off of it for you. It could be like a 6 because you really realize like how much they chopped and screwed it, and not like in a good way. It's not chopped and screwed like the way some people like their music.
Nah.
So
nah,
it's again with like 30 minutes or so. Freeze, I highly recommend it. Because if you sit here and you listen to us talk about it, we're just gonna ruin
we're gonna spoil it. Yeah,
Yeah, I was literally thinking like
like I said, go. You know what? Go, like I said, Amazon Prime. You can watch the uncut version for free. You can rent it.
You can rent it.
So go do that and just come back and check out the conversation later. That way we don't spoil nothing for you. Just an idea.
Just make sure you the uncut.
Yes.
Great idea.
So we're gonna get into it. And when we get to where things begin to divulge, Sin and I'll kind of pick up the pieces and fill you in. This is kind of a strange movie. It's got some really weird, like, I don't know, bro, like sexual undertones that are kind of strange throughout it. Natalie Portman, this is her first movie. She's 12 years old when they shoot this movie.
Smoked it. Okay.
Yeah. And again, as a young actress, really getting their first, technically what is a major film gig, this is kind of a push. When you consider what the content of the movie, in a nutshell, what this movie is a story about a professional hitman who ends up more or less unwillingly with a young girl in his care who he then sort of takes on reluctantly as a protege of sorts. It's kind of what the movie is in a nutshell.
Keeping in mind that she also came from a really terrible upbringing, because that
100%.
kind of helps. That
Definitely.
will help explain a little bit of her mind.
Yeah. There are articles, there are interviews out there with Natalie Portman talking about how when she was shooting this movie, this movie is directed by Luc Besson, who's like known for kind of international / French action film stuff. And Jean Reno, who this was my introduction to Jean Reno as a character, and he's pretty much this guy in everything he's in, but like, but I like this guy, so like I'm, you know what I mean? It's kind of like
I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah. She talks about how in the scenes where she had to like the first scene where she has to like really like cry, like this movie taught her how to cry on command, right? and that she learned to cry on command because the first time she really needed to cry in this movie, they sprayed mint oil in her eyes. And she said that it hurt so bad, it was so excruciating that from then on, she needed to cry. In that moment, she could. Never been a problem.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
And if you can imagine being, 12 years old, all these adults on set, and she literally says, like, the director told, like, the assistant, go spray mint oils in her eyes. She needs to cry. And they just... We're going to get to what that was. So this movie opens in what I think is relatively typical 90s action movie fashion. Terrible sounding guns. Like, all of it sounds terrible now.
It does, but the nostalgia of hearing those sounds, like, from back then, yeah.
100%. I was like, man, this feels like some Lethal Weapon or something. Like, this is like,
Yeah.
you got to figure this was probably like shot and edited in like 93. Between 92 and 90.
Mario Paint.
Yeah, 100%. Like, it's, so we open with the professional being that, just being like a straight up threatening, showing up and killing everybody on the scene. You got this kind of, let's assume he's a big time drug dealer. Like, you don't see him deal drugs, but you see him moving around and making moves and telling people what to do. And I'm gonna take the girl in the room and we're gonna have, he got all the security and, they got cameras and everybody's got like Mac 10s, Mac 11s, and they're pea shooters or whatever. And he takes the job and is like, all right, I got it. I'm going there and I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to do. And he shows up and just starts murdering everyone.
Wipes them out.
With ease.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like a ghost. He's a ghost. It really does a good job of kind of setting up how good he is at what he does, right? Yeah. And what's interesting is you never really see that happen again throughout the rest of the movie.
Not to the big shootout or whatever at the end.
At the very end, right? Yeah. Even then, like, you don't really necessarily see him being, like there's a moment in that opening sequence where, that's the kid from Star Wars. Well, she was an adult in Star Wars, but yes.
yeah.
He's like, guys are, so-and-so's dead. Go check it out. Everybody's going into panic mode. You know what I mean? And they're running, and a dude opens the door and goes out to check, and when he comes back in, just a noose around his neck. You just see him, you know what I mean? His feet like, okay. We can kill him all kinds of ways. We don't just shoot him. We don't just, you know what I mean? He's clearly like in the rafters. He might be in the vent system, whatever. They're shutting things down. They got metal gates on the doors or whatever.
Which don't do anything.
Yeah. They get killed on the balcony. 2-hour movie is crazy now. But I'm going to tell you what. That 2-hour version.
That 2-hour 12-minute version hit different. That hit different.
Boy. So, like, okay. So you really see him be who he is. And, like, he's out on the balcony. And they're, dude is shook. All his people are dead. He's just shooting holes. And then you just see the one eye peek through the hole, into the room. And he doesn't shoot. Now he's really scared. This man is a drug dealer, firing weapons, cocaine everywhere, and he called 911, dog.
Somebody help me.
Somebody trying to kill me. And he backs into a dark corner, and my man is
That was my favorite part about the scene. That was my favorite part.
I love that part.
Come out, put a knife to him, like not really saying too much. Call this number. Like just some old school hitman type stuff.
I love it, bro.
Put the phone up. Yeah.
Yeah.
He just hang up. My man told 911, I'll call you back. He said, "I call you back." You sure, bro? Call the number.
But I know you, like you
Yeah.
said it doesn't really. He doesn't really have a lot else other scenes like that in the movie. But that particular scene definitely sets the tone. Like
Mhm.
you already know what you're
Yeah,
getting
for how
into.
much of a
Like, you know,
badass that he
yeah.
is. Yeah,
It
Yeah.
explains
Uh,
why the title is
the
what it
The
is,
professional.
right?
professional.
I'm the
exactly.
professional. So again, I'm gonna be honest. Like I've probably seen this movie, I don't know, 10 or 12 times, and I
So make
remember
sure,
the first time I watched.
make sure he understands. You understand?
Exactly that right there.
Yes.
He said, "Go ahead, let him go. Make sure he understands, and then let him go." He just said, "You
You
understand?"
understand.
Just
He's like,
I
"Yeah."
was shook.
Yeah.
Like yes,
I
yes, yes.
um, the first time I saw this movie, I watched that first scene, and I was like, "I'm in. Let's go." You know what I mean? Like this is
There
it.
were parts of it that had me laughing, and I was like, I forgot that there's like a comedic element to this movie. Like,
100%. There's comedy to this. It's
yeah.
like it's super interesting how kind of like deep and thought provoking moments of the movie are. And you have the action and the shooting kind of killing moments of it, but then yeah, you also have the comedy of it all. Like him showing up in the darkness, put the knife to his throat, and here comes the girl out of the bedroom, like, "Hey baby, I guess I'll holler at you later," or whatever. They just kind of like walk out the room, you know.
There was an
And
understanding. You ain't see nothing.
she already knows.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Matter of fact, what was trifling about that moment was he walked in the room. She was like, "Hey, what's going on? Don't worry about it. You good? We leaving. I
Take a
don't care
nap.
what happens to you. Like, we good. I'm bouncing." Yeah. I mean, he killed everybody. So like this movie opens and does, I think, a really good job of like in a very short, couple of minutes, giving you a really good idea of what this person is capable of.
hmm
Right.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree.
and then my man just goes and buys some milk. Well, he goes and steals some milk.
Nuh-uh. The guy
Which
goes. The clerk goes, "Hey, 2 quarts of milk, like always."
he
He
knows.
knows.
He has
He's gonna
he,
buy it.
he puts those joints right in his little case.
He's got to keep the case closed. It's filled with guns and grenades and shit.
Better. What I
Just tuck
mean?
that in. You can't go up to the counter, set that up there, pop it open, and be like, "Don't worry about these. Put my milk in here."
Bag like everybody else. You know what I mean? Raised you seen it a long time ago. Now it's a matter of which one you saw for each.
Right. Uncut or regular.
Yeah.
Diet Coke
Yeah.
or regular.
Did you get that
Not
cut, or
Diet
did you get
Coke.
that uncut raw?
Right.
Diet professional
Yeah.
or full on?
Zero calories or all the calories in that thing.
Yeah. Nah, it's still calories in it either way. Just this thing, it's with some little extra kick in it. So we see him kind of coming back from this job, walking into his apartment. Natalie Portman's character is like, she's a kid, right? Like feet hanging over the side of the banister, swinging her legs, smoking a jack, just having a cigarette. You know what I mean? Like, what is going on? He comes up the stairs. She tries to hide the cigarette. He don't really care, but there's some noise kind of coming from what would be her home. He walks past her home, kind of sees what's going on, knows there's something up because that's what he does. And, goes in a room, close the door behind him, kind of mind his business. And we get to what's going on in her apartment, which is, that her father is dealing with some folks who, apparently are upset because they gave him the cocaine and now the cocaine is cut. Gave it to
Mhm.
you Thursday, it was pure.
What's that?
Saturday, it's
100.
not. You know
Now I
what I'm
said at
saying?
90.
Going
We
on?
gotta have some
Now
conversations, my guy.
it was at 100. Now it's at 90. My man's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about.
Swelling.
Bro, it's clear to everybody. Everybody. Hey, dog, you know. We know you know. Right? But even I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. I think the first time I'm saying that, like, man, whoever did it, I'm, again, because walking, I'm like, all right, is he going to end up trying to have to hire the hitman guy or whatever to kind of try to go find out who
Okay.
cut the cocaine for him, whatever? No. At this point, my man's having a conversation in the hallway. This conversation is happening right in front of the daughter in the hallway who's hiding her cigarette, right? And is explaining to him, listen, it would be better if you just tell me. Because if you don't tell me what happened to the cocaine, I got to go disturb him. And right now, he's listening to his Beethoven, his Mozart. That's just not good if I got to disturb him. My man's like, I don't know what you're talking about, man. To me, I give it to them. That's it. I don't know
It
nothing else.
wasn't me. He was on the Shaggy. It wasn't me.
100%. 100%.
Which I feel like whether
My man's
you
like,
tell
all
the
right,
truth or not, it's not a good thing to be like, oh.
100%.
Yeah.
You at least need to be like, I don't know what happened, dog, but I'll find out. Something.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Instead, when they're leaving, he tells them, "You find out." Like,
Yeah, like,
Yeah, he starts to buck at him and get smart, like Slim.
oh, now
now
you,
you
After they
Now you-
downstairs, after they
y'all
gone.
are down the
After they
stairs.
left the
Come at me
building.
now.
they pull it off in the car. Yeah, I thought so.
yeah, all that.
Yeah.
He tells him, yo, he's really good at sniffing out a liar. God, I hope you're not lying. Because he'll sniff it out. And he goes
Literally.
over. And here's the thing. He looks genuinely afraid. Let me tell you something. This movie is the movie that made me a fan of Gary Oldman.
Okay.
Because for real, at this point, the only thing I've seen him really do is like be a foot soldier in Ninja Turtles. And I don't know if y'all know that.
I did not know that.
I'd have to go back and look. I don't remember.
Hey, bro, first
I know
Ninja
that for
Turtles,
sure.
live
The
action
cigarette.
joint. He has a speaking role.
I have to
He's one of
see
the foot
this.
soldiers in Ninja
When you,
Turtles.
I see you looking, Mari. Send it to me when you find it. But I liked him too a lot. My only gripe with the character, I wanted / needed an explanation for the craziness to why he does it. That's all I wanted. I
tell you that I'm pretty sure he's on that crack, bro.
Right. I think it's the little green and yellow pills he was popping all the time and then getting all zany.
Like,
But
yeah,
what is the pills? Yeah, I don't need a long drawn out thing. Just something to just say why he acts like this, and I'm good. That's the only thing I was missing.
I'll be
Pills
honest,
will
bro.
get
Like,
cut from 100 to 90. No.
I kind of feel like he even I can't think of the dude's name, but even when he goes to get him, he actually seems like he's genuinely afraid to interrupt him and tell him.
Oh, his right hand man, yeah.
Yeah, like, yo,
Yeah.
he said he don't know. You know what happened is, I'm sorry to disturb you, boss, but he said he don't know. And when he takes that headphone out and goes over and actually starts sniffing my man's neck. Sniffing my man's neck. I'm like, all right. And he's like, of course, he doesn't know. You got till noon. Tomorrow.
Hey, bro. He wasn't lying. His watch is
11:59.
different.
11:59 the next day.
He could never say that to jokes.
At all. At all. Jokes, we'd all been killed.
Yeah.
It's kind of messed up, right? Because he wakes up late, kind of in a panic. Tells his wife, like, baby, I think I messed up. Yeah, very much so. Baby, why don't you skip work today? Why don't you not go in, man? Let's just have a, I think I'm right. I think I really messed up. You always figure it out. No big deal. You know what I mean? Natalie Portman's character just fighting for TV. Sister in there
She's trying to watch her Transformers. I appreciate it.
Trying to watch Optimus Prime and Megatron go to war.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not happening. And the little brother. Poor little brother. She comes out, has a brief conversation with him. She's going to the store. Hey, everybody knows his business, even though he don't know that people know his business. You need some milk? 2 quarts. I got you. I'm going to the store. I'll get you something. Bring it back. And he's kind of reluctant, but all right. So she leaves. Here they come. We going in the apartment. My man got his Beethoven going. Wham, shotgun to the door. We going in. And he's just bucking shots. Backs up, kicks the door open to the bathroom. Wifey's in the bathtub.
Khadijah.
Wham.
My God, that was a crazy scene.
Bruh. You're not jazzercising no more. Wham, right in the hallway. Right? He's in the corner, shaking. They tear the place up. Find what I'm looking for. They looking, searching. Can't find it. Here she comes. Back upstairs. Sees what's going on, just walks right past, and is somebody spray some mint oil in her eyes, cause she needs.
Might be definitely one of my favorite scenes in the entire movie. That walk past you just at the door, just knocking, and you just see it on her face, like, please open the door and let me in. And he's on the other side, like, God.
Yeah, listen. In the peephole.
Can't find a picture of him in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
It's all good. It's all good. I just have to go to the actual movie and find it.
Yeah. And he finally opens the door. Like, it's getting a little
hot
out there.
Yeah.
And the guy that's watching the door. First of all, let me talk about my man Benny, who got put on watch outside the door.
The black dude or whatever. This bum ass dog. Never take him ever with you again, dog.
Hey, bro. He's so nervous the whole time he's at the door, bro.
My man is shaking and just sweating.
Shaking and sweating, bro. Those are the 2 S's. He is shaking and sweating. And real talk, like, he's when they find, like, you know what? Calm down. Let's go outside. Hey, Benny, we're coming out. Wait.
Like, Slim, what was that for?
Cause I'm nervous. Jesus Christ, Benny. Like,
keep his ass in the car from that on.
Coming out. She walks past.
Before that, Gary Oldman shot the dude. and he kept shooting him. He was like, "He's dead." He was like, "Put my suit."
He
Yes.
ruined my suit.
Oh, my suit.
I wore a new suit today.
He was hot, bro. He popped that pill, bro, and got his neck twisted. I think that's one of the best shots. Is
I would say the end,
and they show
the end
him
of that scene is where. Mhm.
Go ahead, Sam.
I was gonna say that the end of that scene is where my 7 starts to come into play. Like that, we're like shaving points. Like that's where it starts to come into play throughout the rest of the movie.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
why?
Because the way they allude, all right, the way they allude the end of it is like when he's like, "What do we? You stay here? Like, what do you want me to tell him? Just tell them what happened. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Kind of deal." And you learn a little bit later that they're actually the police, pretty much.
Right.
So them being the police, when I see how he came in and murdered everybody, and then I'm like, "You're supposed to be the police. There's no way in hell you can clean this up, dog." Like it is just a massacre in there. You did all the massacring. That when he comes back in and get questioned about it, well, he drew a gun. Dog, how about the chick in the tub, dog? Like, come on now. Like, there's no way you can explain yourself out of all this, but apparently he does.
He didn't know. He didn't even really try.
Yeah.
Like when they go back in there and they're like, walk us through what happened. And he's like, he was in the corner and he went for the gun. And they were like, and what'd you do? And you know what he said? We did our job. No, he didn't. He was like, you got questions? Come see me in my office. And then just go.
I was like, how the hell does this fly? There is no way in hell you were getting away. The movie should be over at this point. Like, come on now, bro.
It didn't fly. He just, dog, it's the 90s. You know what I mean? Like,
I kept going back to that, like, it's old school way of thinking, but no, I just couldn't let it slide. It was killing me.
I mean, here's the thing. The real plot twist in it is finding out that he's actually DEA, right?
Mhm.
That he's, all right. So they've been dealing in this, and it's kind of like, how do you hide and run and whatever from the people who are the cops? But it also is like, one, he's also on drugs. Like he's on something. You know what I mean?
He's out of his mind, yeah.
Here's that hubris of like, they can't touch me. You know what I mean? Clearly, he's been doing. So who is my man gonna call? It did make me think that maybe the guy in the beginning of the movie, when he called 911, knew he was calling the police on purpose. Like, yo, there's somebody who's, but probably.
But when it comes to the police interactions in this movie, all my gripes were with that. Because there was just more stuff like that throughout the whole thing for me.
Yeah, and you know what? Here's the thing. I'll give you that because, again, even for me, it was like, what made you think this was just going to be a running? But here's the other thing. I do actually think that if it hadn't been for the little boy being killed,
they
might have got away with it.
Yeah. That's what
I actually think. Now, I don't even mean as far as she's concerned. I just mean as far as whoever his bosses are, whoever's walking him in. Like, if not for the little child, they might not have questioned.
Right.
You know what I mean? What it was, because now you have the body of this 4-year-old boy who is, who got killed in this thing. So like.
And you got a drug dealer and his lady.
The drug dealer, his woman, and the thing, and even the older teenage daughter. They might would have got away with that. You know what I mean? I think they're probably the only reason why he even got questioned is because of that. You know what I mean? And that's kind of how I lean. That's the way I always saw it. That's the way it always felt to me. Is that it just was because of that? Like, if it wasn't for that, it wouldn't even be. And to be honest, I think I thought, when I first saw this, that he was going to kill the little white Jamaican dude, because that was who killed the kid.
Yeah.
Well,
and that he was going to put it on him, and I thought that's why he left him there.
That's what I thought too. Like, you're going to take the fall for this.
Because in the beginning, but he says to him, and again, even that shot is like super menacing when he's like, "What you want me to tell them?" What you want me to tell them? And because the dude says like the police are coming, we gotta go. He's like, all right. And again, comedy just kind of in the midst of all of this. The guy says that Gary Oldman's character, he's like, the police are coming, we gotta go. And then Gary Oldman says to the other guy, the police are coming, we gotta go.
Yeah.
He's like, you know what I mean? Like he just kind of repeating everything he says. Like, come on, let's go. And he's like, you stay here. And he's like, what do you want me to tell him? And he's like, he just kind of peeks back through the like beaded doorway or whatever. And he's like, tell them we were doing our job. Like, all right, what does that mean? You know what I mean? Or whatever.
Right.
And I just, at that point, I'm like, oh yeah, he slim shot the dude. So he's that raw. He just told him, you stay. You taking the fall for this one. That's, what I figured. So
I was thinking that, Heather, the whole time.
Chet Hanks. What?
I don't know what that means.
Tom Hanks' son, Chet Hanks. Just look him up, and
Yeah.
you'll get it instantly.
The
Oh yeah. Yep.
look, he reluctantly takes Matilda into his home. And, under the circumstance with the situation, understands what it is. He's clearly like torn, like, man, I don't want none of this. And when she goes in to the room and then the guy comes out and is like, oh man, we missed a little girl. We got to go find her. I'm gonna go see if I can find the super. And that one dude with the toothpick, old greasehead with the toothpick, starts making his way towards the door. And I'm like, oh, it's about to be on. Cause he's like leaning to the door and you see him like
Leon's like moving
through the hole,
Trying to line them up. Yeah, trying to line it up just right.
line it up through the door, like, all right, it's about to be, but like even then, like taking a moment to go peek his head into the room, make sure she's not really looking, comes back out with the gun, whatever. She turns on Transformers. Like, I mean, just, and then she ends up opening his case. And ain't no milk in there. it's all
Them things.
no milk. Just that action pack. And this is kind of where things start to get a little interesting. And she's like, teach me to do what you do. I want to be a cleaner. And he's like, nope, you're too young. And this is where she starts to make me angry. Shorty is reckless. And my man, you want to clean? Here's a gun. Do the thing. You can't do this job. She just goes out my man's window and just starts airing shots out into the street. Am I ready for this? You might be, but now I gotta move, dog.
I'm sorry. Them shots always with them walking from having to move from her antics and them carrying the little plant around. Too good.
Don't ever do that again. Okay. Stop saying
okay.
Okay. And then like
Again,
all
it's
throughout the movie, it's like
She just okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
That little peppered comedy,
Yeah.
like in there. So they go to this hotel. She knows he can't read or write. The hotel clerk is like, you can't bring that violin in here. Here's the thing. My biggest gripe with this movie is never really knowing what's in that violin case.
Right. That's what I was thinking too.
Bro, 100%. Because at this point,
I
I'm
made this big deal about it.
yeah, I'm like, what's in the violin joint? What's in the box?
Oh, so good.
She hit him with the Mister. She's a liar, bro.
She was smoking it though.
I have to practice because I got an audition for Juilliard. Okay, you can practice. I'll put you at the end of the hall so you don't disturb anybody. What?
Thank you, mister.
But again, fill out this paperwork. Daddy, can I fill this out? You know how much I love filling out paperwork for hotels.
I was like, hold up now. You missed with that one, sweetheart. I'm sorry. You love filling out hotel work? No.
Hey, bro.
Yeah.
You know,
Strike one.
what do you want?
Yeah.
What do you want?
But, okay, you're back even now. You bodied the first one, you failed in the second one. So
Yeah.
we're broke even at this point.
It's pretty bad. Look, I do love that the first thing that happens when they get to the hotel is he checks everything.
Yeah.
Every corner, every room opens, every door closes, opens. I'm like, he knows. I know the layout. I know what's popping, and I know I got a place for my plant. Pop this window open.
It's
Set
free.
my plant.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Got to keep that fern gully. You know what I mean? He goes to his man at the shop, makes a request. It says, this is a little, nobody uses this. This is for amateurs. I'm practicing. I gotta keep my skills up. Takes her out. Put this sniper rifle together. Starts giving her the ins and outs. Never dress too bright. Always wear the same colors as the floor. You know what I mean? Lay down. She pops the thing open. Chill out, Slim.
I did the same thing.
Open
that, sweetheart. Stop that. Cut that down.
They'll see that from a mile away. They'll see the glint. You can't do that. You gotta wait till it's time.
Yep.
Whatever. Though here's the thing. In 94, 95. What are you laughing at, Sim?
It's the idea of where I think this is going. That's all.
Oh. Nah, they shot Bill Clinton.
I was about to say, they shot the president.
Shot Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
Taking a job.
And that's it. Like that storyline is just over. You just clearly shot the president in front of everybody, and nobody wants to know what happened with that. Like, okay.
But did you see the dude that jumped on the president after he got shot?
Oh, yeah.
And we all like,
get off me. I'm okay.
It's like, this might have been a problem. We should go.
Yeah.
And listen, and again, she picks him like it's just a random guy in the orange jumpsuit.
He's whatever.
You didn't verify that with your binoculars, bro? Like, let's maybe pick another target.
It's not hot until he realizes all the Secret Service are jumping out. Whatever. All right, so here's the thing. This is where the movie really starts to divulge if you've seen the uncut versus the cut. Because in this version of the movie, you see that he clearly finally makes a decision. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do this. I'll teach you, what it is. And he gets this one main starter weapon. This is what you start. This is what everybody learns with. And he explains to her that, like, the last weapon you'll learn is the knife, which is kind of cool, a cool callback to the beginning of the movie where, like, the last thing he uses is the knife, right? That's when you're close and you got to be able to be quiet and be silent or whatever. It's the last thing you learn. So he's explaining all of that to her.
I like that.
And you get the idea, like, okay, he's showing her how to be a cleaner. She's learning how to be a hitman, whatever. But in the uncut version, they go on many, many hits together. Like, they got a whole, like, walking in the hallway, take a piece of bubble gum, put the bubble gum over the eye hole. Look, you're looking for all right here. You can't feel it and tell exactly where the chain is on the door. But if you put your hand right here, you can tell where the chain is. Now we're gonna knock on the door, and he's got like a
bolt cutters.
Bolt cutters.
Yeah.
And so he's like, ring the doorbell. And she's like, what do I say? He said, I don't care. Say whatever. Just get him to open the door. And she's
she's in her bag. Yeah.
Hey, mister, it's Susan. I don't know no Susan. And he's like, step back from the door. I can't see anything. It's dark out here. The lights are out. Please, sir. He opens that door. Wham! He snapped. They bust in there, and I'm talking about, like, And you just see it over and over and over again. You see them doing that same thing, just running like drills. Bubblegum on the door, knock on the door, go inside, all that kind of stuff. Until finally, she's like, there's no doorbell. And he's like, so knock on the door. Knocks on the door, dude answers, and he's like, you could hear him cocking guns on the inside. Oh, okay, I'll be right there. You know, hear him cocking guns or whatever. He runs, grabs her, pulls her out of the way, and my man's just shooting at the door. Just bullets flying everywhere. He's protecting her, and then he's talking trash. And my man's like, "What about the ring? What about the ring problem? Something like that." Like, what are you talking about? My man just throws a grenade in the doorway. Boom! Opens his hand, tells her that's the ring problem. Shows her the ring from the grenade. You know, whatever. Takes her on a hit in the room. Tells this dude, like, puts the gun in his mouth and is like, if I feel your mouth open from the edge of this gun, I'll pull this trigger. And walks around it like he got one gun in dude's mouth, got another gun in
walking
his hand,
around the apartment.
walking around the apartment, clearing the apartment, dragging this dude along. Like, if you let go of this gun barrel, I'm gonna bust your head. You know what I mean? He's walking in, looking around, checking things out, walking by, tells him stand in the corner, and then makes him stand in the corner while he's like, all right, now it's your turn. She gets her little gun case out, puts her gun case, opens it up, takes the joint out, pops the clip in, puts the silencer on it. You know what I mean? She's like, all right, it's your turn. And dude's just standing in the corner like, hey, my man, it's not my drugs. Like, I don't know what. He's like, shut up. You know what I mean? He just shoots him. Pow, pow, twice. But it's not you know, it's the same like correctly, face, you know, whatever. He's like, nah, remember I told you. And like literally dude standing like, like he thinks he's got shot. He's looking. He tells her like, no, remember I told you. The first shot, cool. Second shot, it's got to be in the upper body. It needs to be in the lungs and the heart. You got to make sure they're dead. Never in the face. If you shoot them in the face, you can't prove to the client that you actually killed the person. You don't get paid. If they think you just killed, because then you could just kill anybody and show up, and they don't know if you actually did the job. You got to be able to prove, you know, be able to prove you did the job. Dude's like, bro, like what's going on?
He's just sitting there like, what the fuck?
Like, what's happening? And then she and then he kills the dude. You know what I mean? He shoots the dude, and then they get ready to leave, and she pulls out some alcohol, pours alcohol all over the drugs that are on the table. And he's like, what are you doing? And she was like, you said no women, no kids, right? And he's like, yeah. She said, who do you think this is gonna hurt? Who do you think this is gonna kill? It's gonna kill women and kids. And she sets it all on fire. You know what I mean? Like there's moments like he shows her like how to do it. So in the regular version of the movie, it kind of jumps to a point where, you know, she goes back to the house, goes back to the apartment, sees the chalk outline of her brother, gets the money out of the floor that she knows is hiding in the floor. And then you kind of see her pay him like, hey, she leaves him a note, you know, whatever. Like you said, you know, 5,000 a head. Here's 20 grand. I need you to kill these people. This is where they're located. Because at this point, she knows because she was in the apartment, knows where his office is, knows he works for the police, whatever. And you just kind of see her like grab a bag and show up at the police department, ready to walk in and go pull off a hit or try. You know what I mean? You don't see any of the training that happens before she gets to that point where she's like, I'm just going to go.
I was like, where did she get this confidence from that she's going to pull off a hit? She shot one dude. Like, what?
Yeah. Nah. She gets trained. Like, it's the extended version of the movie makes so much more sense. So much more happens. It is also... There's definitely some more sexual... like, they do their first hit. They go and then they go to like a restaurant, like a very fancy restaurant, and she's getting drunk. Like they're drinking wine.
What?
Oh yeah,
drunk, and it's like, kiss me.
She's trying to kiss him in the restaurant in front of everybody.
And he's like, Matilda, there's people watching. Like, chill out. Like, you know, whatever. And she's like, no. Why don't you just? And yeah, she's getting drunk. But it's a whole thing. Like
she makes it very clearly known. I'm trying to smash what you're trying to do. Like when she makes it very clear to uncut stuff.
I'm in love with you, all this kind of stuff. Like in the uncut version, it gets a little like,
yeah, exactly. Don't know if Americans can.
It's crazy. I saw an interview with the director, he didn't talk about that, but he did talk about a few scenes. He was like, there was a few scenes that he said he saw like other people watching, and he said some dude yelled in the theater. He was like, "No way! There's no way they're about to do that." And he said because he heard that reaction, he took a lot of stuff out of the movie. But I didn't
Probably
know
like the bed
that.
scene too, when she has to sleep with him.
Yeah, yeah. It's because in the uncut in the cut version, after he goes and he rescues her from the police station, when she goes in to try to pull off the hit or whatever, and he reads the
Another
note,
point I had a problem with, but continue.
but he just walked in that joint and Molly
All
walked
of
him
it,
out.
all of it, Slim.
All of that.
Molly walked Slim in the
She
mouth.
she came in with a bag of weapons, dog, and I got cleared to go upstairs to the 6th floor. Hell
Yeah,
no.
Nah, for real. In the 90s, easy. You got to remember, dog. This is real talk. You got to remember, this is all pre 9/11, dog.
I
There
know
was no bag checks at the airport. There was no it wasn't. It's very like my man just
That
looked at
just
the
seemed-
all right, food, and she's a little girl, so you know what I mean. Like he ain't thinking no. She's not a threat. She's
she was a threat.
You know what I mean? Like she just walks in that joint, and
Yeah.
I had to kind of reset my brain and go, hey, this is 1994. This was shot in like 92, 93, bro. Like the way the world is and security is and walking through security checks, like, dog, go back and watch footage of what an airport was like in 2000. Not even 2001. Like people smoking indoors, people like all of that, like so much has changed that like you don't even think about.
Yeah.
Like her smoking in the hallway and all that kind of stuff is kind of like there's a scene in the uncut version where so you do actually see him in the cut version, you see him go to do a hit and he like clearly gets hurt. He comes back, gets in the shower, and you can see like he's sewing himself up, whatever.
Yeah.
In the uncut version of that, like he tells her he's going on this job and she wants to go with him. And he's like, nope, this one's too big. You can't go. And so she's like walking around, pacing, concerned, worried about him while he's gone, all that kind of stuff or whatever. And there's a moment. And at this point, she's actually already gone back and gotten the money from the apartment, knows about her brother and you know what I mean, the chalk outline, all that's already happened. And she goes outside and is sitting on the stoop smoking a cigarette. These boys are playing like basketball with like a milk crate. And then this boy walks over to her and is like, hey, you new here, right? You live on the 5th floor? She's like, yeah. And he's like, you know, it's a tax for sitting here. You can't just sit here. If you know what I mean, like you got to pay. And she's like, how much is it? And he's like $10. You know what I mean? Or whatever. She's like, all right. She pulls out a wad of money, opens it up, hands him $100 bill. You got change? He's like, you know, the boys looking around like,
yeah,
what?
like, oh.
You know, she's like, you got change? He's like, nah. She was like, don't worry about it. She said, we'll just cut a deal. Whatever. And then she says to him, like, does me paying to stay here mean I got to deal with you? And he's like, nah. She's like, then get lost. Like, y'all get lost. I'm trying to think. You know what I mean? Or whatever.
It was like $10 a month they were trying to charge her. She was like,
Yeah.
100, like, I'm good for the year.
Yeah.
They were so happy, like, yeah.
I'm about to just take this for the year, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
So they run off, you know, whatever. And then that's when she kind of gets it in her head and makes it this again. She's already got the money. She actually, after she gets the money the first time, she walks in and tries to pay him. She tells him about dude being a police officer, where exactly he is, and actually asks him directly, like, here's the money. Can you go do the hit? And he's like, nah, it's too messy. It's too dangerous. She's like, he tells her, like, revenge is bad. You don't want to get caught up in that. That's not where you want to be. Blah, blah, blah. So they actually have a conversation about it. It's not just, he didn't just walk in and find a note and then go to get her. They actually had a conversation about it, and she actually asked him to do it, and he told her no. Right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
So there's like a lot of context that you end up missing in the way that it gets cut. I'll put it to you this way. When she finds the money and sees the outline of her brother and figures out where that is, in the regular version of the movie, there's maybe like 30 minutes left. But there's like a good 45 minutes or so left at that point in the uncut version, like when that happens. So there's a lot of, again, additional context or whatever. He goes, he buys her this dress, and she doesn't want to wear the dress. When they come back after he saves her from the police station, they come back. She puts the dress on, comes out of the bathroom, all kind of provocative. It's weird, y'all.
Pours
It's
his milk for him
weird,
all
bro.
nicely. Yeah.
Yeah, and then she's talking to him about love and being in love with him, and he's like, nah, you can't. Like, it can't be like that. Like, you're not. And she was like, nah, like I'm, and she's telling him, like, he's like, you got a lot of growing up to do. And she was like, I'm already grown. She's like, what I've been through and what I've seen, I'm already grown. I'm just getting older. Like, that's her response to him. You know what I mean? And yeah, it gets a little.
She's all talking about sex. I heard the girl talk about sex being a virgin in the first time, and it's
Yeah,
gonna hurt, but then it feels good. Like it's like cigarettes. Like
Goodness.
oh yeah, she starts trying to get into her bag.
yeah, like she trying to, and then so he's like, nah, she's like, all right, then at least do this for me. Just lay in the bed with me tonight. Just sleep in the bed. Don't because he always sleep in the chair with one eye open.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So she, like she lays my man down.
She
Just
tucks
relax.
my man in.
She tucks him in like it's.
Shit does.
It's
The balls up, rolls in his arms, pull his arm around her and everything, and they go to sleep. It's like slip.
Now, would this be the same scene where he wakes up in a startle and she's like kind of watching
Yes.
over him?
Yes,
that's
yes.
that's what comes after that scene.
Okay.
She wakes up, he wakes up, and she's like, everything's okay. You know what I mean? I don't know. She don't got her dress on no more. It's weird, bro. But he got all his clothes on, so I'm like, I guess.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Because they had probably only because they had that talk about he told her about his girl dying back in the day and how he got over here and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And how it messed him up. He starts crying
Yeah.
in front of her and everything. Yeah.
Yep. It's a whole thing. She asked him about his first love, and he talks about,
Yeah.
yep, in my country, I had a woman. She came from like high class, and my family really didn't have anything to do with that kind of stuff, and we weren't allowed to be together and all this kind of stuff. And she ends up getting killed. And it's a whole thing. So there's like a lot of story and a lot of context that you miss if you're not watching the uncut version. That's just like really interesting. It gets a little ditty. What is
It does, but
Gets a little Drake. Probably a
it's-
minor.
but it's still so good.
It's so good.
Yeah.
There's adds a lot of context. Here's the thing, right? Because I don't really want to drag it out too much more, but I do want to have a conversation about these characters because this is the thing. Watching this movie again, it's been years since I've seen this movie. This is the first time I've watched this movie and really thought to myself, oh, he's autistic. That's the first time it's ever really dawned on me. Like, it isn't just like, oh, he can't read, he can't write. There are certain things about just how meticulous he is, the way things have to be placed, how
Only drinking the milk. Yeah, just a lot of little it's ticks with him. Just
and I think the first time I watched it, I feel some kind of way about what's his name, Danny Aiello's character that's keeping his money. And I remember the first time he's like, all these jobs I've been doing, all the money I'm getting. He's like, nah, your money's cool. It's like a bank. Nobody knocks off old Tony. You're good. And then when I see the police officers walking that joint, and I'm like, oh, they about to knock off old Tony. But they don't. They don't. Look, yeah, his character has very specific kind of character quirks and certain things that he does that are like, oh, this is not just like. I almost feel like if they were to try to make this movie and put it out now, they would find a way to call out something like that or say that there was something like that about it. And at that time, they don't. You know what I mean? They just let the character be. I gotta have my plant. My plant has to be here. It has to have sunlight. Gotta spray it. You know what I mean? Like all of those very specific and meticulous things. Because I'm like, my man is living like he doesn't have any money.
Right.
He goes to Tony, and Tony's like, "Here, I'll give you some money. Like, here's a little bit of money.
Here's $100.
Yeah,
Like, bro,
$100.
you don't have my money, sir. Let's just put it like that.
She got $100.
You don't have my money, sir. I'm not stupid.
Like, nah, but he trusts him, you know, or whatever. Like, it's just, yeah. At the end of the movie, when they finally track them down, figure out where they are, and my man's like, just go in there, get the guy. She goes out to get the milk, comes back, gets joinked up. You remember the knock? Here's the knock. As soon as he said that, I was like,
yep, she goes switch it up.
This ain't happening. Yeah, this ain't happening. And they start playing the music. You know what I mean? Like they switch the whole tone of everything. And everything seems sweet. But clearly, like, he just broke into like the police. Like, he
didn't break in. He walked in, wheeled the elevator, bust two of them, and left with his youngin.
Police officers in that joint walked out.
Got back in the taxi waiting for him.
Yeah.
That was pretty much a GTA mission. He just went into that.
100%. It was so Grand Theft. You know.
Pick up the package.
And for real, like, she actually had food. Like, my man went to eat that food, and dude was like, it might be poison. He was like, nah, this ain't poison. Slim walked in that room, pop, shot them both. She just gave her a hug and just walked out. And the taxi driver was like, you call that fast? I've been out here like 10 minutes. No, you don't shut up. It's New York. New York, man, it's way longer than that. Like,
I just shot two cops upstairs.
Yeah.
Dropped his car.
Trying to get this money. My man hit him with the Avanti. Hit him with the Italian one. I did my best.
I did the best I could.
Yeah.
Getting shot right before you eat a pizza, it sounds so depressing. Like right before you got a pizza.
Are you about to? He got a piece in his hand. You pop. You know what I mean? That's what he get for saying what you want me to tell him. What you get? What is the other thing?
For a second, I got him mixed up because I knew there was another Gary Oldman movie where he's like portraying like a Jamaican.
He's got the
character.
dreadlocks, yeah.
I was like,
you're
right.
right.
That movie? I was like, this is not that movie.
Not that movie. When you hear him, when she gets cornered in the bathroom, when he catches her in the bathroom, which again, actually a very tense moment, right? Like she's standing there with all the guns in the bag.
Oh, yeah.
She don't even have anything ready to draw out. She just walks into the bedroom.
She's like, where am I gonna put this?
Where do I put this stuff?
This pizza and guns.
She not used to doing this by herself. She used to have somebody with her, bro. Like, and he's like, food delivery, huh? So you just, why don't you tell me what you was planning to do with all that, you know? And when Slim walks in the room, it's like, yo, it's about so-and-so, he got killed. And he starts telling him the story about what happened. Mm-hmm. And you just see like the flashback moments of him, like, this is what they said happened. And it wasn't the Chinese, man. I'm telling you, it wasn't them. Like, their people got hit too. And it's like, oh, that's how he got hurt. He got hurt in that job, you know, or whatever. Who knew it was tied to? He might have. I really think they never say it, but I feel like he knew in some way that it was tied to the same dudes that, because he just don't forget faces. Like, he just don't seem like he seen Slim in the hallway talking to him when they were having that whole thing going down. Like, I think he knew when he did it, he had already kind of made that decision. And I think he was already planning to like hunt them down one by one for her. Like, wasn't going to really do it as like, I'm not taking your money, I'm not doing a hit, but he was going to like settle up. And, you know, because he goes to Tony, he's like, look, if anything ever happens to me, I want you to make sure you give her, you know, my money. And in the cut version of it, he actually has to explain. Remember the girl who was here with me the other day? Remember he walked outside and the dude was talking to her and he was like, hey, if you don't get this little boy away from you, you don't get this boy. Don't be over here talking to him. Stop smoking cigarettes. Like, he just found something to be mad about. Stop smoking cigarettes.
Okay.
But in that moment, he has to explain to Tony, like, remember the girl that was here with me the other day, that whatever. Yeah. But when he takes her on his, he takes her into Tony's restaurant. Yeah. They sit down together. He introduces her to Tony. Okay. Tony knows that they're going out on his together. And when he comes back to say, if anything ever happens to me, I want you to make sure you take care of her and give her the money, Tony agrees to do it. He knows who she is already.
Yeah.
he's like he's already in. It makes it make way more sense, and they kind of
Yeah.
cut in him explaining or asking like, remember the girl? Like that's not there. He just kind of said like, I want you to make sure you give my money to Matilda, you know, or whatever. And he's like, okay. So like the scene still happens, but it's just different, and it happens in a different order because he goes in and he's like, I need help and I need a trainer. And Tony's like, she's a 12-year-old kid. Like, you're not taking her. I'm not with this. You're not taking her and teaching her how to do this. And then my man's like, I need a drink. And so he's like, give my man some milk. And then she looks at him and she says to Tony, nice tattoos. And he goes, get another milk. You know what I mean? Sure. You know what I mean? And just agrees to like let her start going on hits. So they start doing hits together. So he knows who she is. Where in the cut version of the movie, it's like it makes it more weird. Like, yeah, why does he have this girl kind of hanging around? What's going on? You're in trouble, kind of thing. And it just makes it a lot more clear and clean.
That even makes more sense towards the end too. When they meet up again, and she asked him, he was like, "What are you gonna do?" And she was like, "I can clean." And I guess without seeing all that stuff, he was like, "What makes you think you can clean?"
Yeah.
Nah, Slim, go to school.
He still, yeah.
Yeah.
So even that scene would make more sense in context.
It does. Like, it's a much better movie as a longer movie. It's a much better movie as a longer movie. But I will tell you that one of my favorite movie scenes of all time is Gary Oldman saying, "Bring everyone." What do you mean everyone?
Yeah.
Everyone! Like the whole squad, bro. Empty the precinct.
I'm about to say 5 stars, my guy. 5 stars.
100%,
Grand Theft Auto, 5 stars. Get everyone.
I mean, like, no, you got the whole squad up there.
You got 222 people. You can't find a man and a child.
Yo, straight up, like, and when she refused to leave him,
the police crossing guard just like, oh, I gotta go.
yeah, it's you know, and you think for a minute he's gonna make it. You do. You think.
As soon as I saw Gary like clearing out the hallway, I was like,
it's no good.
Not happening.
No good. Yeah. Yes, it's terrible. It's terrible. But I'm glad he died too.
Yeah.
I'd be so upset if that didn't happen. Like if they didn't give us that, but when he's like, it's from Matilda. You know what I mean? Ring trick. You know what I mean? It's the same joint. And again, it makes it so much better in the uncut version because when he pulls the pin and it's the ring trick thing and you see the pin, he taught her that when they were going on hits together and he threw the grenade in the room with the guy. So it's like, okay.
For me, seeing that scene in the cut version, like it was just like he had his hands and he was like, it's from Matilda. And he opened before he even opened his hand, I was like, oh, grenades. He's about to blow this shit up.
You know what's going down. He opens his coat and it's like, bro, that's all the grenades. Like it's not even like
you are not escaping this, my guy.
Oh, shit.
And it's funny when he opened, it didn't seem like a concern. Oh shit! It was like more impressive. Like, oh, okay, like, like damn, you was really ready. Like,
you did this. You
really do this for a living. Okay.
Yeah, it's I don't know, man. Look, both versions of the movie I think are very good. For me personally, I enjoy it. It is definitely a movie of its time, bro. That movie got 1994 stamped on its forehead, bro. It sounds terrible. Explosions are terrible. The guns are terrible. But the movie is like, I don't think I had ever seen anything like that, you know, at the time. I don't know if I've ever seen anything quite like it since then. You know what I mean? Like, I think there are things that have borrowed from it, or there have been pieces that are close to it, but it definitely is a movie of its time. But I still like always thoroughly enjoy it. when I watched it. I'm actually a little disappointed in myself for not having watched it in so long because it's been a long time since I've seen it. Are we all in the same place score wise for how we feel about it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
7 is 8. I highly recommend you go watch the uncut version.
Yeah.
Now I have
That
to.
version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, again, right now you can rent it on Prime. I end up going and buying because I know I have it somewhere. It's on a DVD somewhere, and I was just like, you can't even get it. I think you can rent it in 4K, but like you can't buy it that way. You can only buy it in like regular standard def.
No, on Amazon you can get I think
8.
high def like
Yeah.
UHD or something like that. Buy it on Amazon.
You know, I bought it yesterday.
Okay.
I couldn't find it in anything other than 1080p. I could find it in HD, but couldn't find one that. I think you can. I don't know if you can get it for streaming or digitally in UHD, but I think you can rent it that way. I don't think you can buy it that way. If you can, I'll just buy it again. I'll look at it again and I'll buy it again. Cool.
Yes, sir.
What did you give this? An 8?
8, yes. And when you picked this movie, I remember I saw it before, but I was thinking like, I don't think I remember liking this movie. Then I watched it again. I was like, okay, yeah, this is better than what I remembered.
You remember why you didn't like it the first time you watched it?
I know. I don't even know. I just remember like thinking like there was something about this movie that I felt like I didn't like, but I couldn't even pinpoint that, to be honest.
Probably the creep factor.
It's creepy.
Must have been the creep factor.
And it's worse uncut.
It is way worse.
Yeah.
Uncut and totally worth the watch.
Yep.
Totally worth the watch. Even like the little moments of like, all right, there's some levity in here. Let's try to have some fun. Like she is a kid. Let her have a moment and they, let's play dress up. Let's try to figure out, all right, who are these characters? And like,
but she dressed up as sex symbols.
Of course.
All of them. And he's like, I don't know who that is.
Stop swelling.
Like, hey, dog,
stop swelling. Yeah. You know who that is. Oh, yeah, that.
She hit the happy birthday. He like,
nope. I felt it so much. Like, nah, I don't know what this is.
I don't know nothing about that. I know you better drink this milk. No discussion. Drink this milk. Yeah. It gets a little extra. But yeah, I dig it. Frosty, last thoughts on the movie?
Other than the weirdness around that, it's a very entertaining and fun movie to watch. I like it.
Sin, final thoughts?
I'll just reiterate. Uncut version is much better and a much better viewing pleasure for a sit down and watch with this movie. So if you have the option and you want to sit down and watch it, don't bother with the regular one. If you can find the uncut, treat yourself to that one. It is squirmy, but it's overall a better watch.
It's gonna make you squirm a little bit. You're gonna be like,
yeah,
something more about this isn't right.
And she bodied it. she
does,
did.
Bro. Like for real.
For her first ever gig, she knocked this one out of the park. Yeah.
By the way,
as creepy as it was, knocked it out the park.
It's not Gary Oldman. I was thinking, I get them confused sometimes. It's Sam Rockwell that was in Ninja Turtles.
That's what I was like. I don't think
Sam Rockwell's in that.
Yeah,
it's not Gary Oldman.
Okay.
Gary Oldman is in something else, but I can't think of what it is. But it's not that.
The cigarette scene in Ninja Turtles, right?
Yeah, because Michael Jai White is in that scene with him.
Yeah.
I have not seen that movie in so long. I need
also a foot soldier.
I gotta revisit that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, maybe you can pick that for your next movie, Sam. We'll watch the first Ninja Turtles live action.
I'm going. Nah, I'm gonna pick something trash when it's my time to pick. It's gonna be terrible. Whatever I go with.
I like that. I'm all in. All right, listen. I want to take a moment to show some appreciation to everybody for jumping in, hanging out with us, tuning in. It's late. We ran late. Apologies again. I thoroughly enjoy this movie. I think that if you're gonna watch it, you should watch the uncut version. I do think that there is something to be said for like knowing what the regular version is and then watching the uncut, because I think the appreciation level does actually go up under that
That's how I did
circumstance.
it. Yeah.
So now that a bunch of you have seen the cut version, going and watching the uncut version, I think it will make that much better. And you can kind of fast forward through the parts you know and just kind of go to the pieces that you like, wait a minute.
That doesn't look familiar.
Yeah, it'll fill in context and it'll be fine. All right, so look, this has been your Loading Snacks movie club discussion of Leon the Professional, cut and uncut.
Yeah.
Thanks again. We will let you know what the movie for next month will be. And we look forward to having that discussion with you all at the end of July. We'll see y'all tomorrow for a regular episode of Loading Snacks Weekly. With that, we're out. Tools and lose.
Loading Snacks